Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 300 Bro Studios. Of course, I'm your host and manager, Tai Tiger. Today, we are joined by our brand new and newest council member, Jed. Jed doesn't make content of his own. We met Jed solely because he's a fan of myself and Cosplay Dude 637. He's become a moderator for us on our TikTok lives. He's now a moderator for my Discord server, and he games with us quite often. And he's become a really good buddy of ours. Me and Jed end up having massive conversations like today's video all the time, and he started having this conversation with Cosplay Dude as well, and we thought he'd be really entertaining when it comes to some of our YouTube videos. He's been in the shorts a couple of times, or the TikTok videos if you will, a couple of times, so you would have seen his chibi somewhere along the lines because he doesn't show his face, which is completely fine. With that being said, though, me and Jed are talking about one of our favourite things at the moment, thanks to Monarch Legacy of Monsters, that being Godzilla. And we are talking about 6 characters we think that can beat base level Godzilla. And I have to really encourage those words. Base level. I cannot drill that in more as possible than I already am. It's base level Godzilla. And, of course, as there are 6 characters, Jed's picked 3 and I've picked 3. So let's dive in with Jed's very first Tuesday video, and let's dive in with 6 characters who we think could beat base level Godzilla. Okay, 6 characters to beat base form. Let me just make that note. In base form, we're not talking about any upgrades for Godzilla, but base form Godzilla. Any 6 characters, any characters on the table. You've obviously got 3. I've got 3. Welcome, Jed, to an actual main Tuesday upload. He's been in the shorts and the TikTok videos, but Jed is our newest council member as of yet. So hi, Jed. Welcome to an actual Tuesday upload.
Thank you for welcoming me, Ty. I appreciate being here. I look forward to the discussion between the question.
And do you want to give us your first of your 3? Do you want to give us your first character you think could defeat base form Godzilla?
Yeah, so my first character is going to be Saitama. I believe he possesses the necessary strength. He has durability to fight against Godzilla. I'm glad that you specified that it was base Godzilla, because I think anything past base Godzilla, Saitama struggles with, but I think he has the destructive capability to destroy Godzilla and stop him regenerating.
So Saitama is One Punch Man, right?
Yes, Saitama is One Punch Man.
Would he be able to withstand Godzilla's breath attack or no?
So Saitama has shown to be able to withstand the depths of space and potentially even go past a black hole. So I still think he's got the durability. He fights a telepathic octopus. I can't remember his name. Who uses the power of a black hole, and he just stands there and it doesn't even affect him. So I believe the atomic breath probably wouldn't do a lot to Saitama either. In base form, the atomic breath definitely upgrades its power further down his evolution, but I believe base form Godzilla, atomic breath Saitama could handle.
Yeah, fair. We knew that, there would be an anime character thrown into the mix. To be fair, I've got an anime character too. But yeah, see, my only issue with anime characters is, they do so much, and their power levels are so much, not less limited, that's the wrong word, but their limits are so much higher and on a grander scale than most normal, air quotes, normal things like comic books and superheroes and the MonsterVerse and stuff. So I feel like a lot of anime characters could, but no, Saitama is a good shout. To be fair, I would love to see that. By the way, just him, full blown one fisting Godzilla. That'd be great.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the fight would be good because Godzilla has a really high regeneration, so the fight would be really good. But once Saitama realizes that he needs to get serious, I think the fight's over for Godzilla. So what would be your choice for the question?
So if we're going down the anime route, I'll go with anime choice first. So my pick is Madara Uchiha, specifically the fourth Ninja World War to Naruto Shippuden's last arc version of Madara Uchiha. Obviously we have the fact that he's reanimated, so he technically can't die. In more or less a sense, he has faster regenerate abilities. He has an internal Mangekyo Sharingan. He has a Rinnegan. He basically formed Infinite Tsukuyomi, and stuff. And we also have Susanoo. We have all the Uchiha fire abilities, and with the fact he's reanimated, there's not much that Godzilla's going to be able to do against Madara. Madara's also got how many years worth of tactical knowledge and battle IQ in his mind. He did sit there and plan the fourth Great Ninja War for several years. So this guy's very tactical thinking. But yeah, I think with his Uchiha Geki Genkai's abilities, and with the fact that he's reanimated, I think that he'd be quite a task for Godzilla to fight, to be fair. Base form, now, I think if Godzilla was higher up, I don't think Madara would last as much of a chance, but base form Godzilla, I think we have a good chance of reanimated Madara kind of kicking his ass.
So, this is a really good answer because it's really hard to argue with your answer. Madara Uchiha is very, very formidable in the stage that you've set him in the Fourth Ninja War, especially with the reanimation jutsu in play. The only argument I can see to even base Godzilla potentially beating Madara, the only argument is reanimation jitsu relies on the wielder to still be alive, right? So, for instance, if Orochimaru is the wielder of reanimation jitsu and he dies, doesn't all the reanimations die as well?
Yeah, with in Naruto, once Kabuto's kind of mind wiped or control, what's the word, hypnotized by Itachi, other than I think Madara's the only one that kind of stays around, to be honest. But yeah, it is relied on a singular being. To be fair, if Godzilla did wipe out, let's use Kabuto
That's
for
the argument.
Yeah, that's a good argument.
So the argument is that I could argue that Madara at the Fourth Great Ninja War and base Godzilla potentially have the same regeneration rate. So the fight would just be them keep destroying each other and regeneration. Godzilla is an apocalyptic event. He is classed as an apocalyptic. He could destroy the planet quite easily, even in base form, just through his radiation, alone. So the argument that would stand that if Godzilla just was like, oh, I've had enough of just being destroyed, and just starts destroying everything else that he can see and find, he may eventually kill the user of the reanimation jitsu. Thus, maybe Madara doesn't exist after that, but if it's just a straight out fight, I think Madara wins, definitely. The Susanoo and the Mangekyo Kill Sharingan alone allows him to predict the attack of Godzilla. So I think if Madara could output enough damage to destroy Godzilla at a cellular level, he probably stops regenerating at that point, and Madara wins.
I think the only counter I could think of is if, now obviously if we're using the logic of Naruto, is if whoever reanimates him, whether it's Orochimaru or Kabuto, whoever it is sat in an alternative dimension. Because obviously there is alternate dimensions in Naruto, like
Yes.
Kamui and stuff. So that's the only thing I can think of. That's my only like counter, is if they put in an alternate dimension, then you're not going to have that issue. But yeah, so that you went anime first, I decided to go anime
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. No,
What's your
I respect that.
What's your second pick for?
So my second pick is from comics, movies. Like he's had a standalone movie. I'm gonna go with Thor. Like I think like there are certain alliterations of Thor that is just insanely powerful, and just base Thor alone in the comic books probably outputs enough damage to kill Godzilla. Because the thing is Thor is multiversal. Like even in base form, Thor is more than planetary. Like so, potentially, if he really wanted to, he could just destroy the planet. Godzilla would cease to exist because he can't breathe in space. He would hibernate, and which would potentially be his death. But I think Thor does it. Like some of the later iterations of Thor, when he's got the fourth horse, would be even easier. You know what I mean? Like Thor would barely even blink an eye with that thing, and just boom, Godzilla ceases to exist. Like so, Thor's got to go on the list for me because he's just outright crazy strength, and in the comic books he's been drawn to like he is so powerful, and even like losing some of his like I remember reading a comic book where he becomes Thor, the god of fists, because he becomes unworthy of the hammer, and then starts punching the hammer, and then learns from the golden dragon that Iron Fist learnt from, and becomes like Thor, god of fists, and he's insanely powerful without his weaponry. So he's got to go up there for me, I think. Who would be? What would you say?
So obviously we're talking about Marvel Thor because obviously there's different
Yep.
versions of Thor. Yeah, I completely agree. Thor just in the movies alone, withstood the blast of a sun when he built his axe in Infinity War. He
A
literally
dwarf
took
star.
the
Just
dwarf star.
saying.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like he took that and. He didn't exactly brush it off, but he may as well have just brushed it off. So, like, we've also seen him with, like, just by spinning his hammer, we've seen him with, like, take a lot of, like, hits and stuff. Comic book wise, this dude's fucking almost indestructible. Thor
Yeah.
Force, he's now gained, like, he found out he's related to, like, Mother Gaia or something, so he's like that's also elevated him and stuff. So yeah, base Godzilla versus like comic book Marvel Thor, I think Godzilla's being made into sushi, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I agree. I think like Godzilla's like one biggest strength in that fight would be his regeneration. And I think the amount of power that Thor can output at certain stages in his like comic book span is just too much for Godzilla to regenerate from. I'm not taking it away from Godzilla. I don't think the fight is as one-sided as we probably think it would be, but Godzilla's regeneration is crazy good. But I just think Thor just beats him. Like he's always got something like an ace up his sleeve technically, and he can always power up, and he always gets a power up, and he's ridiculously powerful.
Agreed. It's really odd because your first one was anime, my first one was anime, your second one's a comic book, my second one happens to be a comic book character as well.
Okay, go on then.
So I think out of the three that I've picked, this is the one that's going to raise the most eyebrows. But bear with me, my second pick is going to be Beast Boy from Teen Titans.
Oh, okay. That's a questionable one, Ty. That's a
All right,
questionable one.
so bear with me. So Beast Boy has the ability to turn into any animal that he is in range of, but as soon as let's say he goes to a distant planet that's an alien planet to him, he can then his DNA picks up on the other animal species. He can turn into any animal on that planet, but he happens to be able to keep them. He's just got to go to the planet first. And over the comic book years, he's been able to turn into all different types of stuff. He can also, mind you, turn into Godzilla. Well, a Godzilla form, which is dubbed Garzilla because his name's Garfield. He can literally turn into a kaiju and multiple kaijus at that. He can turn into aliens of unknown origins and looks and things like that. But also, he can turn into a Starro, which can mind control people, including Godzilla.
Um, so, I there's a little, well, it's actually a really, really large hole in your plan, unfortunately. Godzilla is very not susceptible to mind control, unfortunately. Um, his species, I can't remember what the specific name for him is. They've been fighting the great apes for generations, and some of the great apes develop psychic attack, and Godzilla's race learned to be immune to the psychic attack over time. So there's a good chance that even base Godzilla, because you've got to remember, base Godzilla is tens of thousands of years old. Like, he has been growing for thousands of years, thousands of years. The iteration of base Godzilla that we've seen him up to date, I think it was like, what was Monarch set in, Tyler? Do you remember?
Uh,
Was it 1920?
uh,
1940?
1940, I think.
So that's what we would class as base Godzilla. But that's when he's just woken up from hibernation and he's had no reason to like evolve. The last big battle he had would have been against Tiamat, which Tiamat beat him and took his kingdom in the ice. But
See,
I don't know.
I have a counter for your counter. So when in the comic book, when Beast Boy does become his Starro form, he gets affected by Dr. Hate, and he basically turns off the, I don't know, the emotion of connection or something in his mind, which basically allows him to use his stars, the little star plant things, to brainwash everybody. He's able to hijack Martian Manhunter and Miss Martian,
Oh
two
damn.
of the strongest like telepaths in
Yeah.
DC, and he affected Martian Manhunter specifically, who is literally known to not being able to be read because he's that good.
So I'm not really up to date with the backstory of how Garth, aka Beast Boy, comes about, except from the Young. Is it Young Titans? What is it called?
Young Justice, yeah,
Young
yeah.
Justice, except from the Young Justice backstory of him, where his powers are derived from Martian Manhunter. Is that the case in the comic books, or is it different?
No, it is different in the comic books. But you could use that version too, since we count
Okay, if I
different
was going
forms
to
for
use
form.
that version, then he's going to be a very powerful telepath because his powers are derived from Martian, a white Martian, I will say, that is really, really powerful with her telepathic abilities. So yeah, no, okay, yeah. One question I do have to ask about Beast Boy's transformation is, does he get the full access to the full abilities and everything of the creature that he transforms into?
Um, I personally, now comment section, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I personally haven't seen a limitation yet. You know, so for an example, I'll just use this. Let's say he let's say he turns into a porcupine, he's able to do all the things a porcupine is able to do. If he turns into a squid, he's able to do all the things a squid's able to do, if that makes any form of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So going off that, then yeah, if he turns into like a kaiju or an alien animal of certain kind, then he has all of their unique attributes.
I would very much like to see this because I believe it would be a very close fight. We'll leave it
Yeah.
to the comment section to see what they
Well,
decide is
yeah.
who would be the victor.
So yeah, please go on with your third and last pick against Godzilla.
So there was many to choose from. Like, I think there are quite a few characters across comic books, games, every kind of genre. But I'm gonna go anime again because I think there's no arguing that this character bodies absolutely bodies Godzilla, and Godzilla gets so confused that he doesn't even know what's going on, and then he's dead. So my choice My last choice is Satoru Gojo from the Jujutsu Kaisen universe. So he has the power of six eyes and infinity. I know, Ty, you haven't seen JJK and you don't know
No,
about
yeah,
this
no, yeah.
character,
Please
but
continue.
Gojo's infinity, the way that he explains it is the closer you get to him, the slower time moves when you get closer. So inevitably you never get to touch him because the closer and the closer you get, the slower and slower and slower you move. And he can control the distance of where that is. With his six eyes. With his six eyes, he can use unlimited amount of cursed energy at his disposal without wasting a single drop. Godzilla would stand there, atomic breath him, it would encoat Gojo, and it would have never even touched him. Gojo just stands there with his fingers crossed like classic Gojo and says, hollow purple, and releases a massive ball of cursed energy at Godzilla and hits him so hard that Godzilla will not be able to regenerate from it. There'll be nothing left. And Gojo stands there, and all he does, it probably doesn't even pull his blindfold up to beat base Godzilla, I would say. He's that fast. He's got that much cursed energy. The infinity is just broken. Absolutely broken. There's an episode where he fights someone with a lava head. I can't remember his name. Jogo. He's a cursed spirit that has just as much cursed energy as 5 fingers of Sukuna, which you don't know, but he's the king of curses. And Gojo doesn't even take a scratch. He toys with him like it's a sparring session. He even goes and brings Sukuna's vessel to the fight to show Sukuna's vessel how domain expansion works. With one of the strongest cursed spirits that's ever been seen in the Jujutsu Kaisen universe. He's so flippantly powerful that I don't even think the writer likes him. Because I think the way that, if I remember right, reading in an interview, the writer doesn't like Gojo because he's so flippantly powerful. And from the beginning of the show, you meet him and he states he is the strongest sorcerer. He doesn't even quiver when he says it. He just says, I'm the strongest sorcerer. Don't worry about it. And I think the writer said he hates him. So in the most recent iteration is Gojo has been sealed in a prison realm so that his power can't be used.
Yeah, that's the only issue of writing godlike characters is you're kind of limited, so you have to come up with new ways to beat them. Air quote,
Yes.
put them in a dimension. Again, I haven't seen this, but it's one of the reasons why you council members exist to bring different fandoms into it. And what I know of the character and said JJK, I think that's a good pick. To be fair, and the way that you've just explained it, I think that would work. I think Godzilla would. Honestly, I think it'd be one of the only times Godzilla would want to run away.
Yeah, I think after the first initial atomic breath, and he realizes that he's destroyed the entire ground around Gojo, but Gojo is just still standing there completely unfazed. I think at that point he gets like a little kitten and he's like, ugh, and tries to run to the ocean because he realizes he's gonna know at that point that nothing is gonna work. And the reason he won't run out of cowardice, I don't think, he'll run to evolve. He'll know that Gojo is a fighter he can't win at his base form.
Yeah.
He'll go to try and evolve or gain some power. Because he won't, if this fight was to really happen, the only reason that they would actually fight is if Gojo used his powers to unbalance the world. Godzilla would be the balance to come and fight him and stop, and so that the world is more at balance, right? So he would run to evolve to come back to fight Gojo. But if Gojo's smart, he knows he can't allow this thing to run. He's just witnessed it destroy an entire city, while he can't let this thing run. So he would end it straight away. Plus, Gojo has the six eyes allows him to use cursed energy at his disposals, and he's got this thing called reversed curse technique. So he gets stabbed in the neck in the show, and it would have been a kill. It would have been a kill because the weapon is a heavenly weapon that can cut through his infinity. but instead of like trying to attack, he focus all of his energy into like healing himself straight away with reverse cursed energy. He literally comes back from the brink of death. So even if it was to hit him, there's a good chance that he could use his reverse cursed technique to actually heal himself.
Fair.
What would your last character be, Tyler?
So many people are going to argue with me on this one, I know it. But if anyone knows me, I seem to have quite a forte in this character. But I'm going to have to throw my boy Ben 10 or Ben Tennyson into the mix.
How did I know you were going to throw that in there, eh?
I'm going to have to go Ben 10 from the Omniverse, which is the last iteration we have, the main continuity.
Check the comments section where the comments say, "Oh my god, a Ben 10 guy chose Ben 10." No shock.
Like, come on, man! I know the Ben 10's my forte. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, Ben just has too many alien transformations, not including Alien X, but we can throw that in there too. But not including Alien X, he has too many transformations that would be able to stop at least base form Godzilla. I'm not going to argue for anything higher because, you know, that's a different conversation, a different kettle of fish. But base form Godzilla, Ben has things to tackle Radiation Blast. He has things that are just as big as Godzilla. He has abilities and just the ways of maneuverability that Godzilla is not going to handle. And then you could also argue Alien X is in there too. So that, again, I mean, the dude can remake universes. He better wipe Godzilla out of existence. But if you don't want to include Alien X, Ben has enough in his arsenal to tackle all the things that base Godzilla is going to throw in. Just saying.
So I've spoken to you about this many times, like with many different characters fighting Ben 10, and I'm not going to pose an argument. Like, I too believe Ben 10 does win this fight without even using Alien X. Like, so arguably Ben scans alien DNA or DNA to transform into said being, right? He could technically scan Godzilla and become Godzilla, but the problem would be is Ben becomes the prime version of that transformation. So therefore, it would when he transforms into Godzilla, it would be base Godzilla fighting absolute Godzilla in his prime. So
yeah,
base Godzilla loses really, really easily, unfortunately. Like, and it's not even a joke. Said Ben's got the ability to absorb the DNA of other beings. You could argue that while he's trying to scan said DNA, Godzilla could do something about it, but Ben's other aliens make him literally untouchable. Like, what's the ice guy that can go intangible, Tyler?
Big Chill.
He could literally go intangible through Godzilla's his blast, and get close enough, scan the DNA, step away, transform into Prime Godzilla, and then base Godzilla loses. Simple as that. I'm a massive Godzilla fan. I love the Monsterverse, and I will always argue for my boy, but I think this is just a fight he can't win.
Yeah, there's too much that Ben can do. There's
way too much that he can do. Even like you said, taking Alien X out of it, he still wins. There's a good chance that he still wins.
Yeah, so there's an alien called Gut Rot who can basically, the best way to explain Gut Rot is he's a walking chemical laboratory, and like he can make any form of any chemical makeup within the universe and just expel it just easily. So like he could come up with a type of gas or whatever that would eat at Godzilla. For example, like you said, Big Chill. Like, the dude can freeze, like, kaiju level things. He has Way Big, which is literally a kaiju fighting alien anyway, and stuff like this. So, yeah, take away Alien X is a problem. With Alien X, Godzilla doesn't even exist. Literally doesn't exist. He could just wipe Godzilla out from the face of the planet with Alien X. But, yeah, I'm afraid I had to throw my boy at the last second.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Like, I knew that it was coming. Like I said, you're obviously going to come out with it. And we've spoken many times in the past, and I can't argue.
And there you have it, folks. We have our 6 main characters. Now, please be warned, there are actual honorable mentions. That video is going to be dropping later down the line. It's actually a decent sized video. I don't know if it's big enough to be counted as a Tuesday yet or not. Right now, I haven't edited it, but who knows, it could be. So with that being said, look out for our honorable mentions video later down the line. Thank you, Jed, for joining in with your first video. It was an absolute blast talking to you about Godzilla. With that, though, I do have to say thank you very much for checking out this video. Subscribe if you're new, and of course hit the notification bell so you don't miss a brand new drop. And, of course, we love you all. War of Passion, and we see you guys in the next one.